same if you're representing a buyer. I mean, if someone's moving out here because, you know, they want to buy the trophy ranch and, you know, live happily ever after, you know, nothing wrong with that. But boy, you know, if there's a lot of well permitting going on, they're going to be very upset with you. You may not get sued, but you know what they're going to do. Even if you sell them the property, they're going to say, damn it, you know, Contafio, I'll tell you what, use any broker in the world, but don't use that guy. He didn't tell me about it, okay? So just make yourself cognizant of those things. And then the last thing, you know, pooling orders, which opens up a huge can of worms, but I'm going to try to address this very quickly. Someone pointed out during the break, they said, isn't that like eminent domain? And the answer is yes. And the question is, if I own the surface and I own the minerals, and I decide absolutely, positively, categorically, I do not want any oil and gas developed on my property, can they do it anyway? And the answer is yes, okay? There is a process whereby an applicant can go to the Colorado Oil and Gas Commission, and there's a whole set of rules about pooling in units, and even if you do not want to be part of that unit, they can enter an order making your property part of the unit. Now, the good news is if you're part of the unit, you also receive royalties and the ways that's calculated. So it's not like they're going to take your land without any benefit.
Do you mean just the minerals, though? Could they come up and disturb your surface?
Absolutely.
With that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, and it just, you know, again, it's kind of like when people find out about the dominant estate. It's like, we've had this in the family for 100 years. What do you mean they're doing? It's the same thing. It's like, what do you mean they're forced pooling my property? It's like, that absolutely not. Where's my shotgun? And it's like, you know, sorry, it's right. And of course, you may say, well, why is that? And the public policy is spacing and efficient use of the resource benefits the entirety of the estate, even though it may not benefit that single land user. It's just a public policy type of analysis that's been around in Colorado forever. Yeah?
Doesn't it have to do really with the tax revenue the state's going to get?
Well, it can. I mean, to the extent you make the argument that, you know, the production creates severance taxes and other things and they get more money. But, you know, traditionally when they teach this in law school, they don't really talk about that. What they really talk about is when you look at the geology and the formations and you're extracting, you really have to do it in such a way without thinking about property boundaries and things like that. And, you know, the classic example they give you in law school is, has anyone seen pictures of something called Spindletop? Spindletop was the huge oil and gas developments down in Texas back in the 1920s, where there's like rig next to rig next to rig. They're all, and essentially what happened was, prior to pooling arrangements by the state, we lived and died by something called the rule of capture. And the rule of capture is, it goes back to the English common law. And what the rule of capture, the best example is the deer, okay? The deer is no one's property until you shoot it and kill it, okay? Then it's your property, okay? That's the rule of capture, okay? With oil and gas, picture a milkshake, okay? And picture a situation where all of us are in a room and we're all thirsty and we each have a straw. Well, if we're all going to be sitting there drinking from the milkshake, you know, that's not an efficient use of the milkshake. I mean, no one's going to get full, no one's going to, you know, probably spreading disease, who knows. But, you know, that's not the way you do the milkshake. So what pooling does is it says, okay, we've identified the milkshake. We're only going to allow 2 straws. Okay, that's a very simple, but that's what's going on. Well, when you're talking about the milkshake and the straws, you're not talking about, you know, who owns what or why or where we should put the straw. Okay, so pooling is really a spacing thing to increase efficiency and to make sure that there was a reasonable method of extraction. So, you know, Ralph's not sitting there sucking as hard as he can to get as much milkshake as soon as possible and everyone's like starving. Okay? So those are the types of things they teach about. But you know, it's like anything government. Money has something to do with it.
So is oil and gas taxed
Oh yeah.
as it comes out of the ground?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's an issue I could spend a couple hours on. Suffice to say, the oil is, I'll just put it this way. Oil is personal property. I'm sorry. Oil is real property until it is captured and extracted, at which point it is personal property. And that's when it is taxed at its highest level.
So who pays it, the property owner or the people drilling it?
People drilling it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I don't mean to be evasive. This I could really sink a lot of time into it. But everyone kind of get that?
I have another question.
Okay.
Surface agreement, is there a minimum distance required from improvements
Mm-hmm.
to put a well test?
Yeah, I think under I want to say 300 feet, but typically we negotiate those things because.
So you might try to negotiate for more.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So for the mineral endorsement that you can get from the title company, what does that protect?
Those things, they're not really generated to protect existing structures or existing uses. All right. You know, there's a slew of interesting business questions out there about things like that. You know, the other thing that is very interesting is that we deal with title insurance all the time for the sale of real estate. There is no equivalent of title insurance for minerals. Does not exist. I mean, the best you can do is get a lawyer to do a title opinion, but
I mean for the structures, for the improvements. There's some endorsement that you can get from the title company for your improvements.
I'm not sure. I don't know. Yeah, if you ever get one, shoot it to me. I'll look
I
at
will.
that.
I just.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
Okay.
So, but anyway, you know, back to the surface use agreement. You know, it's the key document to protect, you know, the surface owner. So, all right, good. It's 3:25. Do you guys have questions? Is there other topics you'd like me to discuss? Would you just like me to go away like a bad headache? Yeah.
Ralph, you are said to be the guy with the map.
The map.
The map.
Treasure.
Tell us about the map.
The map. Yeah, I was gonna say which map. I mean, I've got more maps than.
Are you talking about where the oil is, Beth?
Well, I don't know where it's being, I just heard it said the map.
Well, I would.
Like the Holy Grail or something?
I've got. I mean,
Treasure map.
I've got lots of maps. I mean, I have no idea. I mean, I have more than maps. I have books. I mean, you know, you can buy books on geology.
You can go online. You can go
Yeah.
online.
You also named a Colorado website that we could look up leases. Do you have that on the tip of your tongue?
Well, not leases. The Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission will tell you about well permits and things like that. If you want to find out about leases, you've got to go to the clerk and recorder's office, okay? Because those are recorded, okay? So, but yeah, I'm interested in the map.
Me too.
I just have a question online for the clerk and recorder's office. What is the document type that a lease would be? Do you know?
Yeah, I don't know whether it's a lease or a deed.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Do what?
I don't
Google
know.
it.
So not easy to separate them out.
Oh, you'll know. You'll know. Just it'll take a few seconds. I mean, oil and gas lease.